Alright, guys, with Terrifier 2 just a few days away, and because I did All Hallows Eve 4 or 5 days ago, I figured what better way to start off October than with Art the Clown in his own movie, 2016's Terrifier, directed again, just like All Hallows Eve, by Damien Leone. I think in the All Hallows Eve video I couldn't pronounce his name, whether it's Leone or Leone. I think I went with Leone for that video. Let's stick with Leone for this one. His name is Damien Leone now. I don't know how you pronounce it. One way or the other, that's his name. And 2 for 2. Like, I haven't seen his shorts before All Hallows Eve, but I love All Hallows Eve. It's a great anthology movie. If you missed my video on that, I'll link it somewhere during this. And then with Terrifier, with this movie, just fantastic. Like, when this movie came out, it was kind of the same feeling I had and that I remember a lot of people having, especially like hardcore slasher fans, when Hatchet released. Like a decade prior to this movie or so. Was it 2007 Hatchet? Yeah, I think it was 2007. So almost a decade before. But when that movie came out, everybody was talking about how this is going to be a return to 80s slasher like feel and homage to 80s slashers, and it's going to be all practical effects and crazy over the top kills and gore, and that's exactly what we got with Hatchet and the rest of that franchise, which I love. The Hatchet series, I did all 4 of them months ago on the channel, and that same type of feeling is what I was feeling when I saw Terrifier for the first time when it came out. Was that same sort of return to the 80s slasher genre, homage, amalgamation of just like modern day slashers and the slashers that we love so much from the 80s. And man, this movie just packs the gore on. It packs the kills. There's not many, but the ones that there are, man, they're fucking brutal in this movie. So let's get into it. Like, the feel and tone of this movie, kind of just like how in sections of All Hallows Eve are the same way. So you can see that he was kind of going for that back then. And I mentioned in that video for All Hallows Eve that 2 of those segments were shorts of his, of Leone's, like before he made All Hallows Eve. The first and the last one were both based off of shorts that he already had done. And the last one was just named Terrifier, the short that the last segment was based off of. But it has just this raw look to it, this movie. It like kind of like reminds me a little of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Tobe Hooper's like directing in that movie, and just like the look of that movie, how it just feels like very raw, very just. But for this movie, actually, it's weird because it has that raw like feel to it, but it also has like this just surreal feel to it, like very, very. I don't even want to say dreamlike, because anyone who's loving having dreams like this needs to see a psychiatrist, but like nightmarish feel to it. That like Art's character works so well with the way the visual style of this movie, with just how demented this fucking clown is, man. And I said in the last video for All Hallows Eve, he's a fucking mime. Like, he's not a clown. Like, I don't get where that whole fucking mismatch with the name came from. He's a fucking mime. He doesn't talk. He pantomimes like a whole bunch of shit. Like in All Hallows Eve, in this movie, I'm sure in Terrifier 2, he'll be pantomiming all over the fucking place. Because he is a mime. So Art the Mime, Art the Clown, whatever you want to call him. But it just has like his whole persona and the way that that character is just so over the top and so just demented and depraved that when you're watching this movie, the like raw look to it helps sell that a lot more for me, because this is something like, this is a character that we've never really seen in a horror film. Like, I think Art is a very, very unique slasher icon. And I said this a few times, that Victor Crowley and Art the Clown. I can't think of many other modern day slasher icons. And I mean, Art basically got that title after just the first movie of his. I mean, luckily he has All Hallows Eve in there that he gets to count as a horror icon for being in more than one movie. But with the second Terrifier coming out soon, and I'm pretty sure Damien Leone said he has like a plan for a trilogy for like the whole story and everything. So we could probably imagine another Terrifier, a third one coming sometime in the future, depending on how the second one does. Which I'm sure the first movie, this one did very well, like not in theaters, but like just by word of mouth and in the horror community in general. Like this movie was talked about a lot when it first came out. So I can only picture the same thing for Terrifier 2. And Art in like All Hallows Eve, like I was talking to a friend of mine who was able to see this like early access. And I said to him, like, with anything, I don't like spoilers. I don't watch trailers. I haven't seen a single trailer for Terrifier 2 or anything really about it. But all I said to him and asked him was, do they explain anything about Art? Like, what he is, why he kills, like, what the fuck he is, like, basically that. Like, what is he? Like, because we see so many supernatural things happen in All Hallows Eve, like at the end of the movie with the phone call that came from the video that Sarah picks up in the house that she's babysitting Timmy and Tia in, and him, Art the Clown, like coming out of the TV pretty much, and like there's so much supernatural stuff in this movie and in All Hallows Eve that we can only assume that he's some demonic clown murderer. Like something supernatural about him. But when I asked that question, I said, like, tell me, just say if they explain anything about him. And no answers, only more questions. That is the answer I wanted, and I'm so happy. Because Art is the type of character that I do not want an explanation for. I don't want to know what he is. I don't want to know where he came from. I don't want to know why he kills. None of that. It'll just, for me, it would take away from the mystique of the character. It'll take away from the mystery and all that stuff that I love about this character. So once I heard that they don't just dive into exposition on him and start explaining what he is, where he came from, and why he is the way he is, and no history on him at all. So I'm glad to hear that, because that's one thing I do not want is Art being explained. Just like in real life, you don't want Art being explained to you. It's subjective. I don't even know where that came from. That was just fucking tired thoughts. Let's see. So let's dive into the actual movie. So the interview with the disfigured woman at the beginning. When I first saw this movie, I thought that was like the girl in All Hallows Eve. In the last segment, she doesn't really even have a name in that segment, but the main chick, when she pulls off on the side of the road and sees the girl with the disfigured face in the car, I thought when they were like saying on the interview in the beginning of this that was the girl that we see in the beginning here. Like I thought it was taking place when they say like a year from the massacre or whatever happened on Halloween. I was thinking, all right, this is like kind of spiritual, sequel to All Hallows Eve with Art and everything. I assumed that was like the massacre that they were talking about from All Hallows Eve, and that disfigured woman, which we find out is Vicky at the end, the sister. I thought she was just that disfigured girl from All Hallows Eve. So it was a nice little, not really surprise, but like at the end when it wraps around and we find out like that Vicky is the disfigured woman from the beginning. Kind of cool how they did that. Like just leaving the beginning very ambiguous and not knowing who this person is, and then telling a year beforehand the whole story, then circling back to Vicky at the end. I don't know. I thought that was a cool little, again, not twist, but like neat little inclusion that they threw in there to have it circle back on itself. But we have I don't even know her name in this, or she has one. Sarah in All Hallows Eve, Katie McGuire's character. We'll just say Katie, just to go with it, because she's dead soon. And just that whole interview is fucking disturbing, man. Like, despite how gorgeous the girl looks with her face all disfigured, like, it's a disturbing fucking interview, and like they did a great job on the effects on her face and everything. Is like her eye that's like kind of like fucked up, like it looks a little weird. I don't know like if any of that was CG or if it was like all practical, but the eye kind of looks a little weird. Like that's like my only complaint with her look, like with her face and everything. Then Katie, the interviewer, says that Art the clown was the only thing that this killer isn't known by, and that he was dead or disappeared. And the girl ends up they ends up asking her questions about her face and like, what was the first like thought that you had when you woke up and you saw your face? And she said like, I wanted to die. And I don't fucking blame her, man. Like that's got to be so fucking hard to look like that. And you just have to walk around and like she even says that she scares children and most other people, and that seclusion and isolation is the most ideal thing for her. So I mean, even though she survived that whole ordeal that we see here with Art, she's never going to be the fucking same. Like she's going to be basically like a recluse like the rest of her life, which sucks, man, to have to go through all of the shit that we see her go through in this movie and then live and just be completely fucked up and disfigured in the face, that you can't go out anywhere, that you have to just basically seclude yourself and isolate yourself from everybody. That's a fucking terrible fate, man. Like that sucks, especially on top of everything she goes through in this. Then just getting Katie, the interviewer's call backstage, and her, I mean, a little heavy on the foreshadowing, but her saying how, like, if I ever looked like that, like, please, like, kill me. And she's like, no, I'm serious, like, kill me. And I agree 100%. But just seeing when she comes out, Vicky comes out, and she ends up just poking the interviewer through the eyes and just disfiguring her face, like, just as bad almost as her face is. Awesome stuff, like really cool. Now, like why she does that, like why Vicky goes and disfigures her face, is it just because she heard that conversation on the phone? Is she being controlled by Art in some way? See, this is where all the supernatural shit kind of comes in that we don't really have the answers for, which I'm glad we don't, and I don't really want them. But those are cool little questions to ponder. Like, is she being possessed by Art in some way? Because she's laughing like a maniac. And we see Art, like, not audibly, but we see him laugh a whole fuck ton throughout this movie and the last one. And his little pantomime, Art the Mime way that he does. And then we meet Tara and Dawn, who are drunk, and they can't drive at the moment, so they're being good citizens. They don't want to drive drunk, so they go to a pizza shop to get some food in their bellies so they can drive off into the sunset and have a great rest of their Halloween, which is not what happens. And just the first shot that we see of Art in the alley, like before they go to a pizza shop, just the way that he just stares, man. Like Art's whole stare and his whole like just comic, like his laughter, like his silent laughter that he'll just like, while he's doing sadistic shit too, like fucking like in All Hallows Eve, he's sawing the fucking guy's head off and shit, and he's just looking up and smiling and looking down like he's enjoying the shit out of himself. Like that's what I think makes him such an intriguing character, is that this fucking guy, demon, clown, whatever you want to call him, just fucking loves being an evil fucking clown, ghost, demon, or whatever you want to call him. Again, we don't know what this thing is, but he takes fucking joy in killing and maiming and just destroying anything and anybody in his path. And he just seems like he's having a grand old fucking time, like during all of it, which is hilarious. But some of the shit that this guy does, man. And then that whole pizza shop scene is awesome. Like, so well shot. All the stuff with art, just with his just extended stares, and how, like, when Tara's looking up at him and he has like a different like pose that he's doing and smiling, and then she'll look away and look back and he's making another like creepy face. Like, really creepy stuff right there. And the girl, Dawn, gets up and goes takes a selfie with this guy. Like, she's so fucking stupid, this character. I mean, come on. Like, Tara's got some common sense at least. Like, from the moment she sees Art in that alleyway, she's immediately has the reaction that any normal person would have. Excuse me, is that this fucking person, this is a fucking creepy ass dude. Like, like this is how people get murdered, especially on Halloween. And she's just fucking, the whole time, ever since the first encounter, she is scared of Art. Dawn is just like willy-nilly, fucking like, yeah, she's really drunk. But still, like, you should still see that this guy is not right in the head. And she just goes over and sits on his lap and like pushes him over and takes a selfie with him, like... And the whole time too, like, while she's taking the selfie with him, how he's just still staring at Tara, really like unsettling, man. Like, they did a really good job. And I forget the guy's name who plays Art in this, and he's the same guy as playing him in Terrifier 2. It was a different actor in All Hallows Eve. I can't think of his name, but he does such a good job portraying Art in this movie. Like, I love his performance in this much more than the guy who played Art in All Hallows Eve. But I mean, this is his own movie, and I don't know what the reason was for Damien changing the actor or anything like that, if there was a particular reason, or he just decided to go with somebody else for this movie, I don't know. But his performance is better than in All Hallows Eve, than the guy who played him in that. Like, for sure, I like the actor in this movie a lot better. And then Art shits all over the bathroom, which he does in All Hallows Eve. He just loves shitting in public restrooms, I guess, and smearing shit all over the walls and fucking writing Art, his name, in the shit. Like, dude, this guy's... But that's what I mean. Like, he's the character you could see doing this. Like, it's not like Jason or like Freddy or like any of I just had a mental image of like Jason, like shitting all over a fucking bathroom and putting Jason in his feces on the wall. Yeah, that's not a good mental image. You don't want to have that. But fucking, you can't see any of them doing that. Like, Art is just like that type of character. That he's just so nuts and just so unhinged. And just the fact that we don't know anything about him, but he just seems like that type of person, like that type of character who would just do that type of shit to just fuck with people, like, for no reason, just to fuck with them before he eventually kills them. And he just, like I said, it's like he enjoys the living shit out of this stuff. But you couldn't pay me to clean up that bathroom. Like, there's not a fucking chance. I said this in All Hallows Eve for my video for that. There's not a chance you can get me to be cleaning that up. And even the guy the co-worker of the manager there, or the boss, whatever he is, says to him, he's like, yo, have the guy who handles the food, like, clean up the shit, like, real sanitary. Yeah, fuck that. Like, I would not. I said in All Hallows Eve, go on the street, get a homeless person. Here, we'll give you $50. Just clean up all this shit and stuff in the bathroom. That's it. That's all you gotta do. There's no way I would be cleaning that shit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Then Dawn's tire's flat, and they end up calling Vicky, who is Tara's sister, to come and pick her up, or pick them up, even though that she is studying. She's studying for like some test that she has, and then her dorm roommate comes in with her boyfriend or some shit, and they're like immediately start like almost fucking on the bed. And so he's like, all right, I'm gonna get some air, I'll come pick you up. So that's her entry into this whole scenario. Then with the whole 2018 Halloween, when they had the kill in there, not really kill, but when they show you the jack-o'-lantern human head, that I laugh hysterically during that, because you can't picture Michael Myers sitting there and carving a human head into a jack-o'-lantern. Like, that's just not something you see Michael Myers doing, or could picture him doing, or anything that he would do. He would never do that, which is why it's stupid in that movie. But in this movie, when he turns one of the pizza shop guy's head into a jack-o'-lantern, Art, like I keep saying, is the type of character that you could see him sitting down and fucking scooping out this person's insides of their head and making a jack-o'-lantern out of this person's head. Like, you could see Art doing that. So it makes sense, like, having it here. Like, having that in Halloween 2018. Pretty sure it's in that movie, right? It's in one of the Halloweens. Yeah, it's 2018, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't make sense, because I refuse to believe that Michael Myers is sitting there making a human head jack-o'-lantern. Nothing that we've seen in any of the movies in the Halloween franchise would make me believe that Michael Myers is sitting down to make a fucking jack-o'-lantern out of somebody's head. He kills and he keeps on going. Art has seems like all the time in the world, and he's enjoying the shit out of this. So absolutely could see him doing it. Michael, absolutely not, which is why it works great in this, does not work in 2018 for me. Then Art cuts the pizza guy's hand off, or cuts his hand, and then murders him. And then Tara has to go to the bathroom, and she ends up going into the creepy ass fucking warehouse that, I don't know if this is where Art's place is. Like, they mention at one point saying that or is it in the description, like the plot synopsis, or somewhere they mention that these girls entered his house of pain or something like that, implying that this is where he lives. I don't know if I'm remembering that right, but absolutely not. But I don't know if that's his little hangout, where we see him at the very beginning of the movie, and he's getting ready, and he has his garbage bag full of his toys and instruments and everything like that. It looks kind of like the same place, but then again, I mean, it looks like a rundown fucking warehouse. It could be anywhere, basically. But don't know if that's his little headquarters that he hangs out in and lives in all the time. And we meet the crazy doll lady, which, I mean, I don't know what her whole role here is. I mean, she's just another body to have a body count, to up the deaths in this movie, as far as I see it. But she does have an interesting scene with Art a little later that is worth discussing. Then, when Tara comes out of the bathroom and she tries heading back to the car, and she just sees Art there staring at her. Creepy, man. He's such an effective character, man. He really is. Like I said, of his stares and his just insane smiles and stuff that he just freeze frames himself on, and all of that is so effective with this character. And then she gets chased down and basically knocked out by Art. Then we get Dawn's kill, which, man, when I saw this fucking kill, I was fucking... I was praising this movie. I was like, thank you for some really good gore effects in a modern slasher film. One of the coolest kills of the 2010s for me. And yeah, it's so similar to Bone Tomahawk, but didn't those movies come out the same year, 2016? Or Bone Tomahawk came out a year earlier, or something like that. But if they came out both in 2016, I don't know which one influenced the other, if they even did influence one another. I don't know. I mean, they are pretty similar, but I can't say which one, I can't say this one took it from Bone Tomahawk or vice versa. I don't know, especially if they came out the same year. It seems like it would be more of a coincidence than one of these movies taking it from the other one. But if Bone Tomahawk came out in 2015, which part of me wants to say, but the other part is sticking with 2016, then yeah, it had a year ahead of time, but this movie was being made then, so I think, honestly, that it was just a coincidence. But just waking up and seeing your best friend, or your friend, we don't know if they're best friends in this, but I'm going to assume they're besties, seeing your bestie hanging there, upside down, naked, except for her panties, then Art just rips those off, and then just takes a fucking dull ass hacksaw and starts sawing her in her pussy straight down through her whole body, and you're fucking like strapped to a chair and you have to watch this. Man, like I could not imagine. I'd be puking through, like, I forget if she's gagged or something, but like I'd be puking through that, choking on my own puke, fucking, if I was gay. Seeing that shit in front of you, just seeing it on screen is fucking gnarly as hell, but seeing it happen right in front of you, fuck, man, that is such a cool death. And then I love near the end, like when he gets like near like a pier, like, but she's upside down, like he like can't go anymore, like he kind of gets stuck. And he just ends it, and you just get this shot of like her body just like with the opening, with the hole in the fucking center of it from being cut in half. So fucking cool. Then Tara gets a little bit of an upper hand and starts beating Art with the 2x4 and saying like, come on, get up, get up. And I loved when I first saw this, because this is another thing you don't see too often in slasher movies, is firearms. You don't see many slasher villains or slasher killers or anything like that using guns. I mean, it happens. It's in movies. I just did All the Boys Love Mandy Lane last week, and that reminded me of this topic too. So I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He uses a gun a decent amount in this. But just when she's beating on him, then he just pulls out the gun and shoots her right in the leg. I did not expect that at all when I first saw this. I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker just pulled out a gun? Like, fucking funny, man. Like, really, really cool. And I should have expected that, because he pulls out a gun in All Hallows Eve when he shoots the driver in the head. So I should have expected that when I saw this. But I don't even remember how long before when this released that I saw All Hallows Eve or anything like that. But awesome how he just pulls that gun out, shoots her right in the leg. And she just falls over, and then he shoots her in the stomach. And then just like the visible, like, just, I don't want to say anger, but like, he makes like a face that he's just like that she's still alive, that he has to go reload the gun, which is hysterical. And he has to go and he reloads the gun and then comes up and then just shoots Tara in the face. And then proceeds to shoot her in the face like 4 or 5 more times. Like, he just unloads that whole clip in her face. Like, it kind of reminds me of like Hitler in Inglourious Bastards, when Eli Roth and the other guy are just like completely machine gunning into fucking Hitler's face and it just flying apart. Like, it kind of reminds me of that, but like quicker. Like, but man, she did not deserve any of this. Like, that is some fucked up shit that happens to these poor girls, man. Like, did not deserve any of this. And then Vicky arrives a little too late, and I think it's interesting that we see Art going through his bag, and we see some of the things that he takes from victims, and he actually takes money. He takes a Metro card. He takes Dawn's cell phone. Like, I think all that's kind of interesting, because if he is this supernatural or demonic entity that is heavily, heavily hinted at, does he really need money or a Metro card or anything like that? Like, or a phone? I mean, I could see him taking the phone, because actually not really, because he killed both of them at that point. So I don't know why he even keeps the phone either. But he keeps all these things. Does he really need them? Maybe. Like, we don't know the whole rules on him, like I keep saying. So we don't know if he can just bypass like the Metro, like if he went to go take the subway, if he can just like appear on the subway and just skip the whole paying for it, like that whole proceedings and everything. I don't know, but he doesn't. I don't know why they make a note of showing that. And it's like, and also surprising that he actually types a text message to Vicky from Dawn's phone and makes her say, and says, come to the back. So like, he's pretty tech savvy, Art the Clown. Like, you would not expect that. But just the whole point of him collecting money and Metro cards and stuff like that, like, makes me wonder, like, exactly the extent of his powers and like what exactly he could do and what he can't. But that's it. Like, that's good. Like, I just want to wonder, and that's it. I don't want to find out. Like, I don't want an answer, like I said earlier. So, just knowing in Terrifier 2 that they don't go explaining shit is great. Then we have the crazy lady going to the night guard, or night watchman, whoever he is, the bald guy, and saying that there's a murderer and that he's killing everybody and he's going to kill you too and all that shit. Then Art ends up just whacking him in the head with the hammer. Like, looks really cool. All the effects in this movie, fucking excellent. Like, all the effects in this movie look so good. Really, really awesome job. I forgot to look up who did the special effects for this movie, but whoever did all the practical effects, man, it looks so good. And then we have this whole scene. This is what I was talking about with the old lady. The whole scene with her when Art has her doll, her baby, that she thinks that it is, Emily, and he's sitting there and like he's like rocking the doll back and forth, and then the old lady starts talking to him and starts saying like, have you never felt a mother's touch? Like, is there any mercy inside you? Like, she's all I have, meaning her baby's all that I have in the world. Like, please spare her. And then she starts mothering him, and like he's sucking his thumb, like leaning on her shoulder, and she's holding and embracing Art, and Art's like sucking on his thumb. So I don't know what to make of that. Like, is that him just fucking with her? Because he fucking skins her alive like a few minutes later. So it doesn't seem like that mother's touch was helping much, like, with Art for any reason whatsoever, or helped him with anything. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, that's just him fucking with her. But then again, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that was trying to hint at something, trying to hint at like some type of backstory on him, that he has mother issues, or that. I don't know. I don't know still what to, like, to this day, what to read into that scene with. Like, I don't know what to take from all of that. But I do think it's very interesting. Just the fact that they included that scene. Even if I don't have an answer for it, I like that whole inclusion there. Even just for the little bit of mystery that it adds more so on top of all the questions you already have about Art from All Hallows Eve into this movie. But cool scene, regardless of me not knowing what the hell it has to do with anything. And the score in the movie is great too. Like, it has like that electronics, like heavy electronic score at times, and fits the film so well. Fits the look of the film with that raw look to it. Fits just everything about it. The score is excellent in this movie. Absolutely love the score. And then I don't even know what the hell that says. Oh, and then Vicky finding Dawn and just finding her body split open, hanging in that room. Man, like, I can't imagine. Like I said, like, just being Tara, being forced to watch that, I can't imagine. And that's like 100 times worse than just finding the aftermath. But just finding your sister's best friend, like, split down the middle, I'd be out of there. I mean, no, I can't say that because it is her sister there. So, I mean, she wants to make sure she's right. After she finds out that Tara's dead, then get the fuck out of there. But she doesn't really have that option at that point. But just finding anyone's fucking body like that, even if you know them or not, just finding somebody split down the middle like that. I can't imagine the adrenaline and the fear that must be kicking in her body right now. Then Art tricks Tara. Oh, Art's trick as Tara when he pretends to be Tara, and Vicky comes to like her aid and starts saying, "Oh, we'll call for help," and she's thinking it's Tara the whole time, and then you see the old crazy lady like missing like all her fucking, like, the whole front of herself has been skinned off, and her hair and everything, and we see that it's Art pretending to be Tara, and he's all dressed up like Buffalo Bill Art, and it is so disturbing. Like, just that whole sequence with him after Vicky runs and she hides in the closet or whatever the hell that is, the little place that she locks herself into, and she's looking through the peephole and just seeing Art like dancing and like twirling the hair and stuff. Like, That's so fucking weird, man. That's so disturbing. That's so unsettling. I love it. And then just the whole way that scene shot too, like through the peephole and everything. Really cool stuff. Like great camera work, like and shots through the peephole and seeing Art dancing, and then like him disappearing, and then him jumping back into frame and scaring the shit out of her. Like really, really awesome. And then the guy gets stabbed in the head. He gets stabbed right in the top of the head, and then Art just starts like fucking cutting and sawing at his throat until he just fucking rip his head off and like hold his head up. Awesome gore, man. Awesome stuff. And then, Vicky, when Art's on the tricycle and he's just riding around in a tiny ass little tricycle, that's hilarious. Like that's so fucking funny. And finally, like I said in All Hallows Eve, the girl does the same thing. So many movies, when person gets, like, if they're in a car and the killer is behind them in the back seat, or any situation like that, and they start putting a bag over their head or plastic and start suffocating them. Every time I want to scream at the fucking screen and just say, it's a fucking bag or it's plastic. Just tear it off, like, and tear it away. And no one does. They always fucking just die a lonely, stupid, breathless death because no one could figure that out. And then when I saw All Hallows Eve, and then when I saw this, and both movies did it, I was so happy that just he puts the bag over her head or plastic, whatever it is, and she just pops it through her mouth and pulls it off. All you gotta do, and you hardly see it happen in movies. They all just give up and die. Like, so I was so happy to see that happen in All Hallows Eve, and then I was happy to see that happen again in this movie, because that's always something that bothers the shit out of me. When someone's being strangled with a fucking plastic wrap or a bag or whatever, and their hands are free. Come on, man. Like, you gotta fucking think better in the moment. I mean, I get it. You got this murderous clown after you that just killed your sister and her best friend, but she still thought fine in the moment, so I know there's other people who would too. And that's not a hard one to really get past. Like the whole bag over your head, just do exactly what Vicky does in this movie and you will be fine. And I like when she finds Tara and she has the circus sign that Art was holding in All Hallows Eve on the side of the road, like laying over her corpse. And then Vicky comes over and she's like, can't believe it. She's like, you can't be dead, and wake up. And then the bull guy comes to the rescue just to get his face smashed in, which that shit looks so good, man. Like when he's just getting his face stomped on, and then the final stomp when Art just brings his fucking leg up and smashes down into his face, and his whole face just like crushes in. So good. The fucking I can't say enough about the effects in this movie. So good. Then he calls the cops, and then the cops end up showing up right after, I love that too. How, like, she's looking through, like, the chain of the door, and Art ends up just getting in a truck or the minivan, whatever it is, like, it looks like a Jeep or a truck or something, and just, like, runs her over, like, just fucking, like, just puts the car in drive and just goes right through the doors and hits her and knocks her over, and then starts eating her face off, like, while she's alive, just like starts eating her face away. And that's how she got her gorgeous face that we see at the beginning and the end here. And the cops show up, and then he just ends up fucking shooting himself in the head, like puts the gun right in his mouth and just blows his brains out. And if he was just any regular old killer, that would be fine, he'd be dead. But as we know, with all these killers, especially Art, he's not dead, he is alive. And they take him to a coroner, and then when they're showing the coroner doing looking at Art, and he opens up the body bag, and just the face that Art has on during that looks fucking amazing. Like, he's such a great character. He's such a great slasher to have, that we can, like I said, I can definitely see a third movie after this sequel that's coming out soon. Definitely could see a third movie. I could see this going into a franchise, like a long-running franchise. Like, just like Freddy and Chucky and Jason and Michael and Leatherface. Like, I can absolutely see Art the Clown becoming one of the newer and like longer lasting characters in like a newer franchise. Like, I mean, he's already in 3 films, counting Terrifier 2. So throw a third movie in there. You got 4 films with Art the Clown. You can make that keep going for a little bit after that, if it stays good and entertaining, of course. And then we have the lights just end up flickering, and then Art's alive, and he ends up killing the coroner. And then that's when we get the, again, it's not like a twist. I don't know why I keep wanting to say twist, but like, maybe it is kind of a twist. I don't know, because I didn't see it coming when I first saw this. And a lot of that has to do with thinking that Vicky at the beginning was this girl from All Hallows Eve. Maybe I was just linking the 2 movies too much when I first saw this. But we get a year later, and we see Vicky leaving the hospital with her parents and with her whole disfigured face and everything. And man, what a fun movie! Like, I mean, it doesn't sound fun, like, but like, what a great watch! Every time I rewatch this movie, it's just a blast, man. It's just like a total throwback to slasher glory that I've said a million times on here. Slashers are my favorite subgenre of horror. So just having something new and refreshing, even if it is a little derivative of things we've seen in the past and everything, what a great movie. And what a great antagonist in Art the Clown, a slasher icon already after what? Less than a decade? When All Hallows Eve came out. Most people didn't know about that movie when it came out. Most people who know about Art the Clown, and they saw him through Terrifier when that first came out. So, I mean, just in a matter of few years, he's been able to become a pretty recognizable horror villain. So, Terrifier 2 was, I think, the 6th that comes out, right? Today it's like 3 days we have. So, I don't know. I'm going to be going upstate the 6th, so I'm not going to be able to catch it in theaters, and I don't even know if it would be playing upstate where I'm going in theaters, but can't wait for Terrifier 2. It's long, too. I've heard that, like, from a few people. It's like over 2 hours. So for a slasher film, that's very long. So interested to see exactly what goes on in this sequel. But, yeah, Terrifier, amazing movie. Same with All Hallows Eve. I love that anthology, even if the middle segment does sag a little bit for me. And we'll have 2 anthology found footage movies coming up next, and probably the 2 others? Yeah, the 2 other ones in that same franchise tomorrow. But I'll be back in a little bit with the first one of those. Take care, guys.